Imagine walking out of a movie theater, unable to speak, unable to even process what you just witnessed, except for the overwhelming need to thank the person who brought you there. That's exactly what Jennifer Lawrence says happened after watching Paul Thomas Anderson's new epic, One Battle After Another, a film she now calls the best movie I've ever seen. And when Jennifer Lawrence says that, an actress who has starred in some of the decade's most acclaimed films, you know something extraordinary is going on. She describes the experience as completely unique, almost electric, the kind of communal cinematic moment that feels impossible to manufacture. From the moment Leonardo DiCaprio appears on that payphone, wrestling with a forgotten password tied to a dangerous rendezvous point, she said she was locked in, unable to blink. And today, we're diving into exactly why she reacted like that, what makes this film so special, and why she insists you must see it in a theater, not later on a couch. Jennifer was appearing on BAFTA and Samsung series BAFTA Playback, where actors revisit scenes from their work and share personal favorites. But when she reached the clip from One Battle After Another, everything shifted. She stopped, smiled, and announced, almost reverently, "This is the best movie I've ever seen." No hesitation, no qualifiers, just pure admiration for a film that clearly overwhelmed her. And this wasn't casual praise. She explained that she couldn't remember the last time a movie made her feel that kind of shared energy with an entire room of strangers. According to her, when the film ended, people didn't shuffle out or mutter reactions. They applauded, loudly, together. And there she was, thanking her husband repeatedly simply for buying the tickets 2 weeks ahead. That gratitude alone tells you how powerful the experience must have felt. It wasn't just a good movie night. It was something that shook her, something she wanted to relive immediately. So what exactly is this movie that's creating such a seismic reaction? One Battle After Another is Anderson's latest sweeping epic, blending a gritty revolutionary past with a pulse-pounding thriller tone. Leonardo DiCaprio stars as an ex-revolutionary forced back into conflict when he and his daughter become hunted by a ruthless military officer played by Sean Penn. And this isn't a small, quiet drama. It's a 2-hour and 42-minute juggernaut of intensity, pacing, and character work that critics say never slows down. Jennifer emphasized that there's not an extra minute in the movie. No filler, no drag, no scene that feels like it's simply connecting plot points. Instead, every moment is alive, as if Anderson packed the screen with characters, emotions, and ideas that all feel startlingly real. She said Anderson has so many characters inside of him, each of them visceral and human, and that the film never lets you relax for even a second. One thing Jennifer kept circling back to was how alive the film feels. She said every character felt so distinct and yet instantly familiar. And as a viewer, you don't just observe the story. You get pulled into it. It's as though Anderson created a world that exists beyond the edges of the frame, layered with histories and emotions that never need long monologues to explain themselves. According to Lawrence, you don't merely follow the characters. You understand them as if you've known them for years. That's rare, especially in large-scale action dramas that often sacrifice depth for spectacle. But here, Jennifer insists the spectacle and humanity feed into each other, creating a rhythm that keeps your heart racing and your mind locked in. She said maintaining that kind of pace should have been impossible, yet Anderson somehow does it effortlessly. And that sense of momentum stayed with her long after she left the theater. Of course, we have to talk about performances, because Jennifer made a point to highlight them. First, yes, Leonardo DiCaprio is exactly what you expect. Intense, committed, impossible to look away from. But the performance she couldn't stop talking about, Sean Penn as Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw. Jennifer practically burst with admiration, saying, "I mean Leo, obviously, but my God," referring to Penn's work. That kind of reaction is huge coming from an Oscar-winning actress known for her high standards. Penn's character is a corrupt military officer hunting DiCaprio's character and his daughter. And apparently, He brings a chilling, magnetic presence that makes him both terrifying and unforgettable. Jennifer's praise suggests a dynamic that elevates the entire film. Two powerhouse actors locking into roles crafted with razor-sharp detail. And when strong performances meet Anderson's world-building, you get characters who feel mythic, yet uncomfortably real. Jennifer also spoke emotionally about the communal side of seeing this film, something she believes streaming simply can't replicate. She emphasized how the room collectively breathed, reacted, and ultimately erupted into applause as the final credits roll. And that experience, she believes, is part of what makes one battle after another so transformative. It wasn't just watching a film, it was sharing one. She described sitting there, overwhelmed, turning to her husband again and again, thanking him for planning ahead. That detail might seem small, but it paints a picture, a movie that made her feel grateful just to have been in the right place at the right time. Not because she's an actress appreciating craft, but because she was a human being swept into something unforgettable, surrounded by strangers who felt the exact same thing. DiCaprio himself has echoed this idea of the theatrical experience being essential. He told Variety that while streaming has become massive, box office still matters for one major reason: people sitting together in a theater. He said that communal environment is where cinema breathes, especially with movies like One Battle After Another. And he pointed out something fascinating. Paul Thomas Anderson shot this film in VistaVision, a wide-frame format rarely used since the early 1960s. That choice alone tells you Anderson wasn't making a movie designed for living room screens. He was building something expansive, visually meticulous, designed to overwhelm your senses in a dark room with towering sound. DiCaprio described the film as uniquely crafted and specialized for moviegoers, meaning it's not just about plot or performances. It's about how the film feels when it envelops you in a theater. Considering all this, it's no surprise the film has already crossed major box office milestones and become an early Oscar frontrunner. Critics praise its relentless pacing, its sweeping emotional undertones, and its daring cinematography. But what makes Jennifer's reaction particularly interesting is that she didn't focus first on awards or industry chatter. Her reaction wasn't analytical, it was visceral. She talked about being stunned, energized, almost grateful. That feeling's first response is what audiences have echoed online, saying the film made them want to discuss it with strangers in the lobby or sit in silence for a moment before heading home. And that's the magic that Anderson seems to have captured. A film that functions not just as entertainment, but as an event. Something big enough to momentarily pull people out of their everyday routines and into a world crafted with uncommon care. As Jennifer revisited this moment on BAFTA Playback, you could sense she wasn't just promoting a movie, she was reliving an emotional memory. She said she felt as if she had been placed inside a story that refused to let her look away. She admired how Anderson seemed to fill every second with purpose, how each character felt like more than just a role, and how the tension never eased until the end. That kind of momentum can exhaust a viewer. But Jennifer described it as exhilarating. She didn't want the film to slow down because every new moment felt like another discovery. And that's likely why audiences are responding the same way she did. It's rare for a big action thriller to feel both monumental and intimate. But Anderson appears to have threaded that needle perfectly, creating something that resonates long after the screen fades to black. So the question becomes, should you see it? According to Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio, and pretty much every reviewer so far, the answer is an emphatic yes. Not just on streaming months later, not casually while scrolling your phone, but in a theater where the sound swallows you and the energy of 100 strangers heightens every scene. Jennifer said the pace is impossible, the characters unforgettable, and the experience irreplaceable. And maybe that's why her reaction struck such a chord. In a world where so many movies blend together, she found one that reminded her why cinema matters. Why sitting in that dark room with a crowd can create something indescribably human. So if you've been waiting for a movie that actually feels like an event, something worth planning for, the way her husband did, you might want to book those tickets now, because according to Jennifer Lawrence, this isn't just another film, it's the best she's ever seen.